Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Tony once again with more fantasy, high fantasy and sword and sorcery from my collection. I have another 5 for you here today to have a look at. Some absolute bangers in this episode. We'll start it off with one of the biggest hitters, and it's a Ray Harryhausen classic. Now we're getting into some of the creme de la creme with this stuff now. And it is the 7th Voyage of Sinbad. When these came to Indicator Power House, when they decided to put these out, I was all over these straight away. I've always loved these films. I've owned these films in every format that's been available to me. But to see him in this kind of quality, he's absolutely fantastic. 7th Voyage of Sinbad for me, out of the 3 Sinbad films, it's the earliest one of the 3 Harryhausen ones, but for me, it's probably the best. The score to this film is second to none. The score is absolutely fantastic. Storyline's a little bit short in this one compared to the other 2 that we'll have a look at further in the line. But nevertheless, the creatures in this, the way it looks, the storyline is fantastic, and this is one I go back to on a regular basis. It's a true gem. If you've never seen any of these, if you've never seen any of the Harryhausen stuff, go back and have a look at my Ray Harryhausen video that I did. It explains all the ins and outs of Harryhausen, how he got into it, what he did, the films that he did, and you'll see he has some big hitters over the years, and the 7th Voyage of Sinbad has always been one of the ones for me. Next is it's not a remake, but it's using the same titles within the franchise, and it's Jason Momoa's Conan the Barbarian. I enjoyed it for what it was. It isn't brilliant. I'm not the biggest fan of Jason Momoa. I think his acting style's a little bit dull. Game of Thrones was probably the best thing that he did, the best thing he's done. He just isn't there, and if anything, he suited these kind of films more than anything else, but he just seemed to have got away from them. But this is okay. It isn't brilliant. It's not the Conan you was expecting. It's more of the Conans, if you've ever read any of the books, it's the more of the Conans from the books. So he's a seafarer, he's a sailor, he's an adventurer and a traveller, more than just a straight up barbarian, the last of his kind, like he is in the Schwarzenegger films. Ron Perlman again pops up in this one. I mean, Ron Perlman fucking loves these kind of films. It is what it is. It's no Schwarzenegger Conan. It could have been better, but it also, on the other hand, it could have been a lot worse. So if you've never seen this version of Conan the Barbarian, check it out. It's okay. Next up, an absolute massive favourite of mine, and I've sung this from the hilltops on numerous occasions, on numerous videos. It is Krull. Of course it's Krull. Absolutely fantastic little romp. A little bit sci-fi, a little bit fantasy, a little bit sword and sorcery. It offered a bit of everything for everybody. Again, another one that's got a good score, another one that's got a good cast. It looks great. It's got the who's who of a young British actors of the time. It's a great all-round film. The glaive, the weapon that's portrayed on the front of is used in it for about 3 minutes of the film. Considering he has to go on a quest for it, you know what I mean? He definitely gets used. But nevertheless, it's a really good, charming little film. A lot of people don't like it, and I sort of understand why. But for me, it was up there with sort of Beastmaster. It was on the TV in the UK just as much as the Beastmaster was at the time, and one that I watched over and over multiple times, and still to this day. I mean, I absolutely love it. It's a charming film. Another one now that's a modern take on a fantasy film, and I thought it was as the top of it says, top notch. It's Solomon Kane. Brilliant little film. Again, didn't probably get the rapport that it deserved. It's good. it's Solomon at the beginning of the film is a bit of a blackguard. He's a pirate. He's an evil guy. He's a bit of a warlord, a gun for hire, and it turns out that with all the evil shit that he's done over the years, it's come back to bite him on his arse. So he takes a more virtued life, a more religious life. He sort of locks himself away. He goes to live in a monastery. He starts to write weird incantations on his body and encrusts himself in crosses. He wants to be redeemed in the eyes of the Lord. But no matter what he does, he can't get away from just being an absolute fucking badass. And he has to venture out once again to stop an evil taking over the realm. But with that, he becomes evil himself. He doesn't want to lift a sword. He doesn't want to lift a gun, but he's got no other option. He's got to do it, but he's really good at doing it. It's actually a really good film if you've never seen it. And a one that can be picked up really cheap in the UK this now. But it's definitely worth picking up for 50 pence or a pound or whatever you can grab it for. And give it a spin. You'll enjoy it. It is actually really good. And the last one for this one is another Ray Harryhausen film. Absolute banger of a film. It's truly brilliant, and it's Jason and the Argonauts. One of my personal favourites of the whole Harryhausen stuff, of the sword and sorcery kind of film he did, the high fantasy stuff. This needs no introduction. It is brilliantly done. Everything about this film just screams class. It was brilliant to see a lot of these props in the Harryhausen collection when I got to see it a few years back. It's a sight to behold. If you're in the UK and you ever get the chance to see the works of Harryhausen, the last time I saw him was at the Edinburgh Museum. Check it out. It's unbelievable how good it is, and unbelievable how much stuff has been preserved in an archive that's as big as this. I mean, the guy must have thrown nothing away. He must have kept everything he'd ever worked on. And for reason for it, he loved it. He loved the art. He loved the storytelling. He loved the film. And it just tells you in his films. He never directed any of these films. He was just the special effects guy. But everyone knows these as the works of Ray Harryhausen. No one remembers the directors. Very rarely everyone remembers any of the actors. Everyone just remembers it's a Ray Harryhausen film, and for a good reason. These are absolute class films, and Jason the Argonauts, for me, is up there with one of his best. So for this episode, the 5 we looked at were Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, the retelling of Conan the Barbarian, one of my favourites, Krull, Solomon Kane, and Jason and the Argonauts. Again, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. I'll see you on the next episode. Take care now. Bye bye.